Welcome everyone to our webinar today. My name is Lindsay Miller and I am the Partner Marketing Manager over at Liquid Web, helping you with all of your partnership needs. So if you have any questions or want to reach out, you can email me at lmiller@liquidweb.com and I'd be happy to talk to you about partnerships and how we can help your agency grow. I'm joined today by Russ Cantu of Catalyst Church Creative. I'm so happy to have you with us today, Russ.
It's good to be here.
Um,
Thanks.
and he is going to talk to us about how having the right partner can help you in your business. And he has some really cool methods that he's been going over with me the last couple of weeks. And I'm very excited to learn from you, Russ, and I know everyone else is as well. So you want to talk for a few minutes and introduce yourself, and then we'll get started?
Sure. My name is Russ Cantu. I lead and own Catalyst Church Creative. We got a bunch of awesome people around San Diego County that work with us. Our main focus is working inside of the church and nonprofit space. That's our wheelhouse. It's kind of my little secret sauce that I've been in for 2 decades, and we figured out some really awesome ways to elevate the conversation of faith in and amongst the community in ways that have never been done before. So that's our space. Love it. The opportunity to integrate WordPress into it just builds community on community. And so that's why we're here today, and hopefully share a few of the little secret sauce pieces that I have and what's working and what's not working and how we can make everyone just a little bit better.
I like that. And do you only work with churches and nonprofits, or are there other like people out there that you go, okay, no, I can take this project on?
No, it's all about finding that good match. And so normally it just happens through word of mouth and through finding people. But what we've found is if you can work with an audience that is predisposed to hating you, churches and the culture that we're in, let's just face it, then you can pretty much work with anybody. And so it's just about finding that right match. And so we have other people out there, whether they're dentists, veterinarians, they're unicorn companies, or they're just starting off from scratch. We're working with them all.
That's great. Okay, well, show us what you have today on choosing the right partner to serve better.
Sure, I got a little deck. We'll go through that a little bit, but let's have a little bit of fun as we're talking about this. So enough about me. Let's talk about what we're really here for. How the right hosting partner allows you to serve better. And so at any point, if you want me to just pause, take a break, spend a little bit more time on it, if anyone has a question, pop on there, ask a little bit of a question, and we'll get it answered. If you're watching this on a replay, go ahead and shoot off an email to Lindsay. She already said her email. Mine is russ@catalystchurchcreative.com. I'll be sure to answer any and all questions. So let's go through this a little bit and see where are we at. And so we are in the people serving business. And so I said it earlier, in the nonprofit space, especially nonprofit space, people are predisposed to either hating you or not working with you. Churches have lost a lot of their character, or at least their convincing character in today's conversation. And in order to recover that, or at least get back into the conversation, there's some things that we really just need to do a lot better. And so one of the things as we started talking about this webinar was going back, hey, to our churches, what are some of the big hiccups and the hurdles that we've seen along the way? And when it comes to your website and serving up the best content and serving up the best performing website, there are these three key imperatives that we need to discuss. So being in the people serving business, cheaper is not always better. And that was a conversation piece that we kept coming back to because we have so many clients internally and other friends that we have spoken to who are on who knows what different hosting platforms. So when it comes to hosting, you can get a cheap host. There are coupons you can get for even $1 a month, and they'll be okay. They'll be a little out of date. They'll be slower. They'll be less secure. And ultimately, in 6 to 12 months, you'll shoot me an email and say, "Hey, I'm a little stuck. I need help. What do I do?" I have a church pastor here in town, Assad Sef, who leads Orchard. He texted me yesterday, "Oh my gosh, I need help. What do I do?" And so he's on an old host that he used that coupon, which is great because if you're a church just starting off or a nonprofit who's really conscientious about their capital, you're always looking for ways to keep the cost down. Well, they kept the cost down, but because they kept the cost down, they are in a place to where their hosting just, it's not working for them. It's slow, it's antiquated, it's not as secure. And that second part, when they need support, it's not there, or they have to wait on hold behind the 48 other people. And so Assad came and said, Russ, I need some help. Can you help me move over next week? Which, by the way, Lindsay, Assad, he's coming to you next week.
Awesome.
It works out, right? But
Yes.
this is literally a weekly conversation. If it's not email, if it's not face to face, it's a text like that when I'm out with my kids, when I'm taking them to Apple Camp, or I hope my daughter play lacrosse. Like, it's the, hey, we're in a rough spot. Do you know an easy way to help? And if I could say a couple different things on that, first stop up and think, cheaper is not always better. What's the right thing for you? Just like we're not the right agency for everyone out there. I'm not the right guy for everyone out there. You're not the right host for everyone out there. Uh, Find out what works for you and understand cheaper is not always better. It's just cheaper.
So, how often do you have to explain hosting to your clients? Because I have to explain it all the time. And so I find that, like, especially in like a nonprofit space where you are more price conscious, and understandably so, and you are in business too. But anyway, to say like, I don't even know what this thing is, so I really would prefer the $4 a month instead of the, higher priced.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a dynamic at play, and I can only really speak from personal experience. And if you're in nonprofit space and have a few other for-profit clients, maybe you can speak on that too. Uh, but when I onboard churches or when I onboard nonprofits, I have to spend a lot more time going over not just general costs, but specifically general costs as it relates to things that they just don't understand, like hosting. And so it used to be, I'm going to present you 3 options of host, and here's what you get for these 3 options. Uh, right now, we don't really do that. Honestly, Lindsay, you've made it affordable enough that I can kind of sell that, and it's the time and the energy and the cost that people are like, okay, it's worth it. It's worth it. But then when I work with my for-profit clients, and whether they're just brand new entrepreneurs or they're the unicorns who trust, it is that, oh, it's those who trust. And at the end of the day, they just go, this is not my space. This is your space. I'm going to do whatever you tell me to do.
Yeah,
So
that makes
it's
sense.
it's a little bit of a cultural dynamic at play.
Okay.
That makes,
Thanks for answering that. Yeah, it does.
yeah,
I mean, I think about that all the time because I'm constantly, I mean, I'm obviously not really in a transactional space where I'm like having to convince people about hosting, but when people ask what I do, right? Oh,
sure.
and not at a conference, and they go, "Oh yeah, I work for a hosting company," and they're always like, "What is that?" I have no idea what that means. And they've heard of the GoDaddies or maybe the HostGators of the world, but haven't really heard of Liquid Web or know why, they need a host that they can trust and count on and not be 40th in the support queue or anything like that. So I was just
Totally.
curious what your take was.
Yeah, and I had that conversation 2 days ago with somebody. They own 13 companies. They're a conglomerate. And like, who in the world is Liquid Daddy or Liquid Daddy? Liquid Web. I've never heard
Yeah.
of them. And so having to explain to them, like, they're in this space and they're just in this space. They're kind of killing it right now. And you're gonna see a lot more from them because I could onboard you with an optimized platform. They're like, I don't have any idea what you just said, but it sounds really exciting.
That's awesome.
Fodder for the fodder for the webinar. There you go.
Absolutely.
All right, that's awesome. So there's that whole cheaper is not always better. Customer support is mission critical, and I kind of said that a little bit in a joking, sarcastic manner of you can be on customer support, number 48 or number 49 behind all these other people, and honestly, if we're valuing people's time, if we're valuing their energy, then what we really want to do is get them help right away. If
Mhm.
you're nonprofit space, your job is in the people serving business, right? So you don't have time to go on the technical side of things. You just need to get back to doing what you do best. And that's be with people. And so always one of the things I appreciate about you guys is being able to pop in and be able to talk to somebody, whoever that is, whether that's Luke or you or Chris or all the technicians like Erwin that seems to know every answer to everything at every single second. It's awesome. And then I think perhaps honestly, Lindsay, what the biggest key uh, is that third one, consistency. Because consistency, if you can't be present in somebody's life or present in somebody's company for the long haul, you're never gonna earn that right to be heard. And so
Mhm.
it's pretty easy for people to onboard. It is. I could convince them. You can convince them. A well-written pitch, it'll get them. Uh, but if you can't stay in their life over the long haul on a
Mhm.
personal level, uh, people will jump for that next right thing. Um,
Yep.
that's the
Sure.
whole thing of why we're doing this. How the right hosting partner. It's not how the right hosting platform or hosting service. That's not what it's about. It's about the right hosting partner allows you to serve better, and that's that whole consistency thing because consistency breeds trust, and trust is that imperative that allows you to continue to foster that relationship.
Mhm.
Dude, that was wise. I'm gonna write that one down.
I like it. It needs to be cross stitched on a pillow.
I'll give you $50 if you do that. Let's move on. I'm so sorry.
You're okay.
It's
This
gonna
is
be that
great.
day. It's still good stuff though.
It's
It's
still
still
really
good
good
stuff.
stuff.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
They're gonna go,
So
Lindsay's webinars got a lot more entertaining when Russ is involved.
it's kind of always the case, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
Um, First piece, serving business. The next component, how choosing the right hosting partner allows you to serve better, is that whole data piece, and even just having the right data and being able to have an optimized platform so you can set yourself up to receive that right data. So let me qualify that real quick. There are clients that I work with who want to have that like SEO conversation, that want to talk about how to rank. And then we look at their copy, and then either if copy is above my head, then I invite other people in who are honestly like tons better than me to run over copy. But it's that whole thing of, if you don't have a strong baseline, if you don't have a strong foundation from which to work off of, then you can't even say, what do I need to do to get there? Or, hey, how is my site performing? Like, honestly, it just doesn't matter because you never set yourself or your site up for success. So there's that whole dichotomy thing of, having the right content as well as having the right technical side of things. And we'll get into that in the next one when we talk about SEO a little bit. But once you have that optimized platform and your plate is absolutely perfect, the deck is stacked, the content's ready, then you could actually have that right kind of data. And then the thing we tell our clients is, data doesn't direct decisions, it informs them, because it allows you
Mhm.
to finally ask that question, well, why? Like, okay, it did this, so it must mean that, no, 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 no. Why? Like, everything
Right.
is primed. Why did people make this decision? Why did they click here? Why are they going down this funnel instead of this funnel? Why are they showing up to your store at this time, but they're staying away at this? So having that right deck allows us to have the right data. And then when we're talking about it, what are some things we could learn in this space? It's that rule of three. And I know I shared this with you a little bit before, and then my clients are
Mhm.
probably tired of me saying this whole 3-3-3-3 thing all the flipping time. Uh, but it's not even a general rule. It's just law these days, in that people will give you 3 minutes, 3 clicks, 3 pages, and only if your page loads in 3 seconds or less. And what we're
Mhm.
seeing is, on all the dashboards we have access to and aggregate data to, which is now like hundreds of sites, those rules on every single church site, nonprofit site, and for-profit site, they're all the same. And the hard part is it's getting even more so. And so that whole 3 minutes, well, this is the rule that was like last year. Now it's like 2 minutes and 36 seconds is the average. So if you don't have that right platform, you're not even going to get to that, because all things being equal, you can choose that $12 a year hosting platform. Your site's not loading in less than 10 seconds. It's just not.
Right.
So there's that rule of three that every church and every business can learn from. And then we're talking about that whole what influences this process. And that's the thing that you and I were talking about yesterday. And that's that full stop SEO, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything online affects SEO. And there's the technical side of things, and then there's the user experience side of things that kind of work in concert. And when Google and other search engines are looking at your site, both of these things matter. Because if you can't have the right technical, you can't either attract and attach clients. And if you don't have the right UX, you're not going to attach clients for the long haul. They're not going to give you those 3 pages. They're not going to give you those 3 clicks. They're not going to give you those 3 minutes. They're not going to give you the 1 minute. So
Mm-hmm.
what we're seeing is most of the drop off happens right around 20 seconds. So if you can't wow them from there's the head roll. What's the head roll?
No, I mean that's like it's so true, but it still hurts to hear it. Like from somebody who does like marketing copy and page layout. Like I don't do the design at all, but like I do have an opinion on like how that happens like with our designers when it comes to that. And
Yeah.
knowing that like you put hours of time into a page and you have 20 seconds to make an impression, like oh man, it hits at home, I think a little bit.
It hurts, right?
Yeah.
It absolutely unequivocally hurts. And we can talk about some of the things we've done in the nonprofit space to help that a little bit.
Hmm.
But that rule, I mean, it exists for web, it exists for video. Like by now, over the past 3 years, we've done a daily video for a local church. And now we have, I think, a little over 17,000 daily viewers of that. The hard part about that is that drop off, which we have a significant drop off because 17,000 people is a lot of people. That drop off happens right around seconds. It does. And it doesn't matter who the presenter is. It doesn't matter if they're the Mac Daddy speaker or if they're the little person in the background. It literally doesn't matter. If you can't sell it within 15 seconds on video, they're
Hmm.
gone. They're gone.
Yep.
And in a world of full on entertainment all the time, you have to be able to wow them, or at least give them the value proposition immediately. So there you go. Everything online affects SEO, technical, and UX. Sad. But on the flip side, the good UX keeps people on your site. One of the things that we really encourage nonprofits, and really especially churches, is just get to your point. Like right away,
Hmm.
if people made the decision to go to your site, they have a reason for visiting your site. And this is where that whole Brennan Dunn thing comes up and says, hey, we've been watching and you've been engaging with us right away, and we only want to present you with that right message. Well, in
Hmm.
the church space, you kind of have to know what that right message is right away. Like
Yeah.
you really don't have too much time to get to know them. And so it's a whole thing of, why are they here? Okay, honestly, they just want to get to your place this weekend. Show them the money, show them, probably shouldn't say money in church, right? But show them that good statement, show them that call to action, and help them on board or help them get there this weekend. Like there's not a lot of time that they're going to give you, and energy that they're going to give you to say, oh, who are they about? Lindsay, oh, she's awesome, I should go because of her. Like they don't care. Like they
Right.
just want to get there this weekend. Proper technical SEO increases visibility and user experience. And so if you've been reading SEO conversations the past year, I've appreciated more. I like to play more on the designer side of things than I do on the technical side of things. It's just where I get more of my joy and my passion from. A lot of the
Hmm.
conversation has gone that way, into proper UX and how that plays into it. Even from Yoast has been putting out conversations and blog posts more about the user experience side of things, because if you can't have a good user experience, all that technical stuff, it just doesn't matter. And so that's where design just soars, where it comes into play. And Google and other search engines are looking at that now and saying, hey, great, good stuff on your technical. Oh, cool, people are engaging with the content at the appropriate levels at each point of the algorithm. Like you've done it. Like you've done it. And the last piece, which honestly, when you and I were talking about this yesterday, I really had a laugh on. And maybe you can speak a little bit more on that. I only have this conversation like once a quarter, but your mobile site, like I know you wanted me to talk about mobile sites just for a second, but maybe that full stops there, because are we really still talking about mobile sites in 2019?
We are. You would be shocked at how many people don't have a mobile responsive website. Like
Yeah.
it happens, and then they don't understand at all. Like I had a conversation with, and this has only happened one time. So I've been at Liquid Web almost 3 years. And this has only happened once, so I can't say this specific scenario happens often, but he still had 3 sites. He had one site that if you were coming from an iPad, it showed you this, one that was specifically for cell phones, and one that was specifically for a computer. Like there was no like automatic responsive design at all to his website. And he wanted it. He was like, well, most people are coming from mobile, so I need to have that. I'm like, I understand, but you can have one website that does all of that. And he didn't comprehend. I think he still has it that way. But yeah, we're still having that conversation.
We're still having that conversation. Well, maybe on the whole, everyone in WordPress community can do a little bit better on getting the word out that everything that is produced in 2019 should be, and I think is, mobile responsive out of the box. And not just that, like I genuinely appreciate things like Beaver Builder out of the box, being able to set parameters for your 3 main devices, your desktop, your iPad, and your iPhone. Like that's just money in the bank for me. I don't have to spend the time and the energy to either technical, code things in, or after the fact, let's build a mobile site. Like, no, that's not. I'm not going down that road. And even looking into the future and looking at like headless servers and static and what everyone's trying to do there, like we're getting to a really cool place to where your content's going to work on everything like immediately.
Yep.
Don't need to convince you, right?
Nope, sure don't.
Freaking love it, dude. I love it. And this is where it's really going for me, is that collaboration is driving the ship. I was talking with Paul Jarvis and a couple other people, man, I'd say it's about 6-8 months ago. And this is that whole thing where we were talking, what is 2019 is going to be about? And, he and Brian Gardner were driving the conversation and collaboration and partnership and what it means, and how to work together, not just for the betterment of both people, but because it's the right thing to do. And I think that right there, I've always been in that space, working with so many churches and nonprofits. Like I think that's the mantra I like to lead with. But to hear a broader conversation, like we collaborate because that's what community was built for. And so it's that whole thing of, yeah, you could do this on your own, and you can go to a certain forest theme place and get a theme for $69, and you can install it on your own on $1 a month server, and you can have a volunteer at your business, or pay, or not at your business, but at your church, and pay somebody a little bit of capital to get this done. You can you could do it on your own. You can. But why would you? Like, honestly, why would you in today, 2019, time, energy, that's money. And the value return on all this, it's through the roof. So yeah, you can get this all done on your own, or you can work with other people, designers, developers, hosts, to get this done and get it done right. Because ultimately there are people who really just want to help. And, I even had that same experience, with you. I've had that experience with Luke, who's on your support team. People just want to help, and it's not just, oh, it's their job. Like, no, they care about you. They care about your family. They want to know how awesome going to Skyline Arch in Utah was. They want to know about your 95-pound dog. Like, you can do it on your own, but there are people who genuinely just want to help you because it's the right thing to do. And, having that whole mantra of working with the most helpful humans on the planet, it's cool and all. But if it's just a piffy statement, it's just a piffy statement and people aren't going to care. But if it rings true, you've just figured your unique space in the market. And that's the piece you lead with. And that's the piece I see, every day working with you guys. And what I try to do with my clients, because collaboration is really caring for your community.
Absolutely. You're definitely speaking to my heart on that one. I mean, I think that's what I try to live out my life at work and in my personal life, right? Helping people and doing good in the world. Like that's kind of the point of it, I think. But yeah.
I think so. I think you're doing a good job. I do. I think you rock at this. I think you're in the right spot.
Well, thank you.
All right. So let's get to some technical things, because I know that's honestly, that's what people care about, right? So we made the move. We made the move about 6 months ago, and 5 months. We made it slow. Like we weren't going to make it hard. We didn't want to rush to make a decision just because I had a friend move over there and like, oh, let's do this. Like, careful consideration. Like, is it really worth it for us to make the move? Like, all things being equal, is there enough value in return? Are these good enough people? Is the service that much better? And is it going to improve my daily life? And for us, the answer was honestly really simple. You can see the scores looking at it right there. The requests are low, page size is low, fully loaded time. We're killing it. And to get more on a technical side of things, when you go and you start looking at comparisons from where we were to where we are today, I look at and say, hey, we have a better score. We're better by at least a second. Our page size, it was equal, but it's smaller. Like, oh, that's the technical side of things. We have half the requests. And the cool part about it is I didn't do it on my own. And that's the piece right there is, yeah, we have the performance with an optimized platform because with you guys, it was all baked in, right? But the cooler part is there's Luke. And it's not just Luke, there's a bunch of other people who are like, hey, how could I help? Like New Amsterdam, great show, right? But that statement he makes every single episode, how could I help? Like, it's genuine and it's real. And obviously you look at the performance and it works. Like it just works. And so that's for us. For us, it's like, hey, this makes sense. And if it makes sense for us, and if the value is there for our clients, dude, it's going to make sense for them. And so far, you've seen them come across your desk. It makes sense. It makes sense. So here's a cool little part. We just launched the site for a buddy, Peyton Jones, highly influential guy in the church planning space. He launched last week, and their move speaks the same thing. Obviously better score, 1.5 second speed increase. He's got twice the page size, but that cool caveat there is made without support. Like I didn't get Luke involved. We just went ahead and moved over to the new platform. He wanted to do a few things on his own, and then he pressed play. That's it. So without support, we've noticed it's just a better platform. And I think maybe you might be going, I think Russ is buttering us a little bit too much. Like it's not about that. It's about that thing we started off at the very beginning about how to choose the right platform, right? It's about partnership. It really is. And so that's the part where it goes to your move. So it worked for us, it worked for Peyton and a bunch of our other clients. And then it's your move. Like you really can do this on your own. Like you can. And there's those plugins that are there, and a few of those things are baked into your platform. Somebody can find those plugins and install them on their own, no matter what platform. And then a web developer certainly should, gosh, I would hope, not all of them, because they come to me, right? They come to you. But web developers should know how to do some or all of it. Your host will help optimize your site. I mean, I guess it all depends on what host you have. I mean, there are quite a few managed hosting platforms that don't help you.
I was going to say the opposite. I mean, I think there's a lot of WordPress love out there, and there's a lot of other hosts, and I think that they all will try to help as much as they can, honestly. Obviously, I think that we are the most helpful humans in hosting, but I think that there are other managed WordPress hosts and support teams out there that also do good work.
Always. I'm not going to put down any other platforms. I mean, maybe a few. No, I'm not going to. I just know that when it comes to helpfulness, sitting at 49 and 48 isn't very helpful. And then being said, we manage things, but we don't really manage things isn't
Right.
helpful either. And so being able
Yeah.
to have somebody that does manage and who does help, that's pretty huge.
Yeah.
That's a really big deal. So there's that whole thing of you don't need to do this on your own. You don't. There are other helpful humans out there that are willing to do it for you. And so this is us. We save time and are working with helpful humans. And honestly, it's really cool because that's what we did before we moved to Liquid Web. And it just so happens that our values are in alignment, that we do the exact same thing, except now with managed WordPress hosting with you guys. And good Lord, this sounds like a freaking pitch, but it's legitimate.
It's good.
Legitimate.
It's good. Yeah.
Well, that's what I got for you today, Lindsay. If there are any questions, I will absolutely answer them for you.
Yeah. So, what are some of the problems that you see mostly? Like, let's just speak to some of your churches that you work with. Like, they've probably, like you said, got a theme off somewhere that's free, found a volunteer to do something. What are like some mistakes that people can look at now and go, okay, this is me, this is my church, or this is my organization, or whatever. Now I need to go and do this differently. Like, are they putting too many plugins on there? Are like, what is like some easy things that people can do themselves?
Yeah, I think the number one thing is there's a rush to get something out there. And while it's important to have a website, it's more important to have the right website. And so we often see clients who do what you just said, for all the right reasons. They just do it too fast. And so
Mm-hmm.
they launch it and goes live. And then not only do you have to fix the technical side of things for them, you kind of have to recover the SEO side of things for them too, because they've most likely negatively impacted themselves for the next few months.
Right.
And that's the hard part is, and this is really just a life principle, right? When we get our minds going too fast because there's this perceived need out there, we rush judgment and we make bad decisions. So
Yeah.
rushing things is honestly probably the first major mistake I see people do. Outside of that, the main thing is not valuing the website as high as they need to. And I
Mm-hmm.
often hear we just need to get it done. And this is before I work with them. We just need to get it done. Like, get it done. And if
Right.
nothing else, when you go and you look at some of the thought leaders on this, like Google Marketing has a great little segment on this about store owners, is 55% of people will look you up online before they walk through the doors of your business. Well, getting it done, it's not good enough. Getting it done right, that's the issue. Like, you need to take your time. You need to value the process. You need to think it out, and you need to have the right person in the right place doing
Mm-hmm.
the right website for you. Because ultimately, if you hire a church or you hire a volunteer or get a volunteer to launch your site, that volunteer, I mean, they're working most likely a 40-hour job somewhere else in their wheelhouse, right? Their flywheel is going for something else that is completely
Right.
unrelated to anything web-based. So value that person by saying, hey, we love you enough to say you suck at web development. We're going to hire somebody else so you can excel in what you're great at our space.
Right. Okay. So excellent. I like it a lot. Here's my last and final question before I let you go. So you talked a lot about, hosting partners and partnerships in general, but like, what are some examples of other partnerships that are good for you and that have served your business really well over the years?
Okay, so there's a couple different things there. So partnerships, people, collaboration. I think one of the biggest things that's helped me over the past 6 years, especially, is I'm involved in a leadership network down here that meets
Mhm.
once a month, and it's very IO. It's very IO where we talk, we share things, we put them up on the whiteboard, and we cross them out. Like this is what we do. So the big term today is, oh, it's our mastermind. Like it's just a group of friends who give a rip about one another and want to help move each
Mhm.
other forward. Like that, when it comes to partnership, like that's it. Like we're in it for each other for the long haul. We want to see each other succeed. We want to see our businesses, our ministries, our family life. We want to see all that succeed. And then outside of that, there's always the give and take partnerships where, like places like Liquid Web or different plugins and services, consulting, whether you're looking at copy with Hillary Weiss or you're looking at SEO with Brennan, like there's
Mhm.
Brendan, there's all these different things that really work in there that play into the partnership conversation. But the ones that really have played influential with me is that leadership group that meets every month, because the consistency is the biggest thing.
Yep, absolutely. So we're involved in something called Entrepreneurship Organization, or EO for short, and it has been vital. Speaking about me personally, not Liquid Web related, but it's those regular meetings with people, and exactly like that, caring about each other and doing that has really made an impact. So anyway, thank you, Russ, for your time. I so
Thank
much
you.
appreciate you coming in and talking to me and our community today. If there's anyone who's listening to the recording and wants to learn more about Liquid Web and our partnership community and our partnership opportunities, you have my email address, or you can reach out to partner-team at Liquid Web and get everybody on board to answer all of your questions. So thank you again, Russ, and we will talk to you next time.
Thank you.